Hello everyone, and welcome back. We had quite a crazy affair, an absolute shellacking, and then some, on good old game number uno, and we're hoping to have a little bit better of a competition for the second one coming up momentarily.
Yeah, we're hoping. I'm not so sold that this is going to be a tightly contested match. Just looking at the lineups for both sides, Bulgaria is a heavy favorite, obviously, with their star-studded roster: Lil Pleb, BZM, Mind Control, La Joya, and Phalitz. But obviously the big three were the first three that were named, and that is a star-studded 1 through 3. So I think it's going to be a hard test for North Macedonia. I think Bulgaria will be one of the favorites to win this competition. They'll be up there with Sweden. As far as of the teams that I've seen, though, those are my two favorites to win the competition so far. So yeah, only time will tell if they'll live up to the hype, though. And yeah, so hopefully North Macedonia is able to prove me wrong, and we're able to at least get a 3-game series out of this.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they can try to make it entertaining. The main concern is when you have the experience and knowledge of some of these top-level talented players. The real problem I feel like that comes to mind is how there is just absolutely zero experience in comparison when it comes to drafting, and with how important it is to be able to perform well in those early stages of the game. If you can just outdraft your opponent, most games can be done and dusted. You can see after that first games that have been played over on this group stage that we have Serbia, Israel, Turkey, and North Macedonia at the top of their groups. However, Bulgaria, which we're soon to see, has yet to have the opportunity to play. However, that's soon to end with this matchup coming up soon, and will likely show how deadly we're expecting them to be.
Yeah, North Macedonia, they got the FF victory over Azerbaijan as well, so they are 1-0 on the table, but that 1-0 is unproven medal. So this will be their first actual proper competition, their first fixture of this competition that they actually get to play through. And so that's a little bit rough. They didn't even get to warm up in their match against Azerbaijan. That was just an FF, so, you know. But it is interesting to see the table start to shape up, start to shape out. We get to see Montenegro. They dropped their matchup to Israel. So Israel coming out on top of their group so far. As I need to refresh my Wikipedia page to update. Yeah, Turkey being the top of Group C. Who's on this Turkish side? Necroman? And a bunch of high-level immortals. Okay. Okay.
Fair enough.
So yeah, that's a decent squad as well. But still, just because I looked through the rosters of everybody coming into this, my favorite to come out of this, I think it's going to be Bulgaria versus Serbia in the finals in the seeding match, and I think Bulgaria will take that. But I could be wrong. I have been wrong many times before, so we'll just have to see if this is one of those times where I am in fact wrong, Trev.
Yeah, I mean, we've had tons of times where we've ended up surprised or caught off guard. I would say one of the first times we've been able to predict and expect the outcome was in that most recent game, where the Jug CM was able to just completely run over the opposition. I am a very popular and strong hero at the moment. It's not like he's weak to play with, just there is consequences to the actions of going for him, and you need to be aware of what sort of picks you go for into it.
Yeah, and I honestly, I feel like I feel like their draft as a whole wasn't terrible. Their laning phase was just terrible. Like, I feel like they had the right four-man kit, a good four-man kit that could play around it. They had the Tide Hunter that you can just park in front of objectives and keep them from sieging them normally in a traditional sense, not when he's 3 levels behind the pace. And you just have this Axe who is ridiculously farmed, running across the map, causing havoc everywhere that he goes. And there's really no answer for that. Like, that's AM's kryptonite, is people that run at him and shrink his map before he's ready and able to fight, and they were just able to do that on the Serbian side better and faster than what they were able to withstand for Bosnia and Herzegovina. Don't want to upset anybody. Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Of course, can get a little bit wordy, but it's true enough to give that credit. So we are also, of course, waiting for that setup of the draft. I mean, it's the one thing we saw with a team like Sweden. They were able to have that experience and dominate, but it wasn't entirely free. That series with France, even though it was a 2-0, was rather scary, and a welcome surprise to see some other opposition able to come on up and show that proper presence.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see an upset. I would love for North Macedonia to just come out here and slap Bulgaria. I would just love for something crazy like that to happen, to be honest with you. I love upsets. I love chaos when it comes to the Dota world. So that's where my heart is. It's just my head when I look at these rosters, and it's the BZM and mind control thing, where it's just like, these are just such solidified top-tier professional players. They're gonna be fully in tune with the meta. Their shot calls are going to be pristine. They're going to be playing faster than everybody else, and it's just going to show on the map is my expectation coming in. But yeah, hopefully North Macedonia, they're able to weather the storm and get Kanao some farm and yeah, go crazy, go brazy.
Yeah, that's what they're going to be hoping for. But I expect the results from this Bulgarian lineup to really be able to slide in, tuck on top.
Yeah.
If anything, I am struggling to think of any other possible competition other than maybe Ukraine, considering they got the guidance of Stonebank from Bait later on. But of course, we're talking so much about this Bulgarian lineup because it has Mind Control, Lil Pleb, BZM, La Jolla, and Phillips. A stacked lineup that I have a feeling are going to be going for those top 2 spots.
Yeah, they're not going to be mucking about this tournament. They've got the star power. They're not going to be wanting to play around. They're going to want to come out and show that they're a dominant side. And I think that's what everybody's going to be expecting from them in this competition. All the viewers at home will be expecting it. Everybody in the commentary booth will be expecting it. So it's just on the guys, it's on the lads now to go out and to actually perform and to live up to those expectations. I mean, we've seen it before across multiple different competitions. Team Secret Iteration 2.0. We saw it with DK. We saw it with Team Orange. We've seen it time and time again where these super stacks are supposed to dominate competitions, and yet for one reason or another, they just do not when the time comes. So, you know, you still do have to perform. It's not enough just to be the strongest team on paper. You have to actually go out there and destroy the damn Ancient.
Yeah, but I mean, to get that Ancient destroyed, usually the only thing in the way of most players is, in fact, the players on the opposing team. You kill those heroes, you can pretty much do anything you'd like. I mean, we've seen teams with how much things can snowball out of control and ignore tier 3 towers at 15 minutes. It's gotten that bad where there's just the positive amount from the kill encouragement plus how meaningless, yet it still gives a fair amount of golden XP the creeps do, genuinely. You can just snowball and eradicate any sort of buildings. They have significantly less meaning than they have in the past.
No, and I mean, this is kind of what you expect from group stage competition, right? You're going to have some close series, you're going to have some absolute stomping of a series, but at the end of the day, it'll all level out, and once we get to the knockout round, that's when the real competition begins, so to speak. and every series should be pretty tight from then on out. But I don't know. I'm excited. This is the first IESF that I've gotten to be a part of, so I'm excited to see how the story goes out. I'm basing a lot of this on like other international sporting competitions, such as like the World Cup, stuff like that. They use these group stages into the knockout rounds. So we'll see. We'll have to see what the actual Dota realm has in store for us. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see this new kind of format, this new kind of storyline that I've not gotten to see before.
Yeah, it's an interesting way to approach it, so it has me scratching my head a bit at what exactly the play is. I'm surprised Bulgaria decided to remove the Broodmother, as they could have just gone for and abused it instead, but I guess they just value having that Undying a lot more and don't want to allow the possibility for it to be given over.
5 seconds remaining.
Although what we've usually seen from a lot of teams, especially if they go for these sort of bans like the Medusa and the Beastmaster, they're generally playing a little bit more of this older style that's about like a week old, a lot easier to counter as of this point and to know what to expect. But going for the smart moves of the Timber Saw and the Techies, which would be an absolute wonderful 2 picks, and I mean does have some strength to it, but a Morphling for Bulgaria is already a red flag and a step out the door for North Macedonia in this first game.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, and not a whole lot of attack speed coming out from these 2 heroes either, so the Tombstone might be, they're going to have to address the Tombstone later in the draft. I mean, Techies, his attack speed isn't terrible, but Timbersaw has next to no attack speed. So that's something to keep in mind as far as the draft progresses. But yeah, gonna ban out AA, trying to protect the Morphling. Ban out the PL, trying to protect the Morphling. Doom is gonna get banned out. Don't want to see that mind control Doom just take over the game. Makes sense.
I think it might just be a little to try to respond to the problem, and it's a nice one, but considering the Timber Saw is in play, as much as the Doom gets tons of that gold, you can go for that Silver Edge. The main thing you want to do with this Techies Timber Saw is try to have that fast momentum and pace to try to stop the Morphling from getting some of that early gold, especially that Axe that is going to allow him to become unkillable during team fights once he's able to target the Timber Saw.
Yeah, but then the concern is if the game slows down at any point, then they're going to have the late game on the Bulgarian side as well as the net worth advantage because this Doom farms so fast. So, yeah, I agree with your point, but I don't disagree with their ban. So I'm fine with both situations here. Gonna ban out the Pangolier on the side of Bulgaria. Now the ban goes to the side of North Macedonia.
Interesting to ban it after the Ember Spirit's removed. Maybe concern of just a little bit too much disable and free farming. And the Skywrath, I feel, would be pretty good, especially against a Timber Saw that doesn't have that much innate magic resistance. Sure, you get constant multi-hits that get built up from the ult, but there's a lot of benefits to it, and that's because they want to bring out the Enchantress. Don't want something that can lock down and nuke her so easily. However, one thing we've been seeing grow in popularity that could come out is the Lion to get that support nuke in.
Oh, it's been a while since I've seen some Lion gaming. I wouldn't be mad at that.
It's been getting very popular the past day and a half.
Yeah.
Because of things like this Morphling that have been coming out.
They're going to go with Rubica instead. Yeah.
Tons of magic damage. Can steal the Impetus Arrow, all the Techies and Timber Saws stuff.
Yeah, really strong lanes coming out from both sides. Really strong laning supports from both sides. The Undying, Rubik, the Techies, Enchantress. So both sides are matching fire with fire here. So nobody really is looking to get rolled over in the lanes. And I think that's really important for North Macedonia. They have to come out of these lanes at least even, I think.
Yeah, I think that's the hope, to at least break these even, if not more than that. Although it's hard to be too optimistic as we go to these late picks. The Dark Seer should be able to hard counter enemies hard carry right clickers that might want to attempt to go against the Morphling, especially like an AM for sure.
10
So
seconds
good
remaining.
response to help give this protection and dominant laning to wrap with the Rubik.
5 seconds remaining.
As well as additional layers. He can build the auras if the Undying is going for some sort of different build and someone needs to pick them up, can help with that beneficial gold, or use it just to help make sure that those spells end up on point. The vacuum to control, set it up with the Rubik. A lot of ways to hold this Timber Saw in place in spite of the chains, to be able to pull them around the tree lines.
Yeah, that's part of the concern whenever you first pick a Timber Saw. You're gonna open yourself to these counters coming out, stuff like that. Sure, he's just happy that he's not having to deal with like a Necrophos or something ugly. Like, dude, I hate playing Timber into Necro. God, it sucks so bad. I'm an off-lane player, so yeah, it just sucks. It sucks. But
yeah, Necro is one of the best answers, but no one seems to want to pick him up at the moment, likely because of how beneficial the Lincolns can be, the Lotus on top of it. Fact that you can get, I mean, as we've seen in 1 or 2 games, you just buy like 3 Lincolns and you can stack them on the same person to make sure that it's impossible to get any sort of lockdown on them.
10 seconds remaining.
And that would be Bloodseeker included.
5
A
seconds remaining.
decent response, but Morphling enjoys building Lincolns, so this really isn't going to matter too much.
yeah, I was wondering if they weren't gonna go with like Troll as their carry, but instead they're having to go with the Bloodseeker. Bloodseeker, he should be able to regenerate through the Ion Shell, harass in the lane, stuff like that. So with the Enchantress there as well, that lane it should be fairly strong. Not necessarily sure if it's a kill lane. Maybe if they get Enchant into Blood right, they might be able to run somebody down, get Thirst going. But yeah.
Going immediately for the Stormban, something that can have that reliable lockdown down and ignore all of the different stuns and tosses from the Darkseer and the
10
Rubik
seconds
pretty
remaining.
reliably.
Radiant team
Can be
ban.
hard to target and select him. Likewise, a fantastic spellcaster able to punish the Bloodseeker at range, doesn't really have to move around. The Tinker, something that would have completely devastated and destroyed everything to do about this lineup.
10 seconds remaining.
Not something I'm sure I would expect
5 seconds
Bulgaria
remaining.
to pull out, but if they did, it would have been devastating.
Yeah, they'd have no answer for a Tinker here.
What still can be rather devastating and seal this in, they could just go for the Tidehunter route. Put him in the mid lane. On the side of Bulgaria.
Yeah. I don't know. I almost would rather see more of a do something hero. I'm trying to think of something off the top of my head, but like honestly, maybe even just like BZ and Pugna. Like just something that can like help push towers and like make space in the early game.
Get the spell casting that won't... It might be dangerous because of the Timber Saw. I don't know if you want to go for something like that. Can easily have this Timber Saw go to the mid lane and then this Pugna is just a fast food feast.
Team ban.
Now you got me hungry.
And go
Talking
for
to a
some
fellow
snacks later,
American
maybe.
about a fast food feast, man.
Trying to think. The best like innate break hero I can think of is something like the PA.
10 seconds
But I don't
remaining.
think that's something reasonable to see in this sort of situation.
5 seconds.
No, I think they're
remaining.
both looking for their mid laners here.
Yeah. Certainly. I mean, we've seen some
Radiant team pick.
of mids on the wilder side, but yeah, the entire focus for both these guys trying to ban all the mids available. But what this does leave is possibly a sniper on the table.
Lena.
Oh,
And
so they
a
go
similar
Lina.
idea, bringing up that Lina. She's been growing back in interest as the sort of mid-ranged harass right click. Seems like she does it a bit better than Sniper does at the moment, even
10
with the
seconds
shrapnel
remaining.
buffs.
Yeah, she's kind of a hybrid hero. She brings a lot more magical damage to help deal with this Timber Saw, help deal with this the Enchantress as well. Just having that nice burst, like, so now they have sustained damage, they have burst damage, they have tower siege, they have Roshan taking abilities. Really well-rounded draft from the side of Bulgaria.
And there's not really any explicit hard counters I can think of,
Templar assassin.
unless they brought out something like maybe the Sniper. The TA, a decent mid,
That's a good pick.
be able to have an alright job. But the entire point of the Lina is this quick attack speed off of the spell casting. So this bubble isn't going to really protect her early, and the fact that it's going to be BCM Lina, I feel like he's going to know how to handle this matchup, build an advantage, as he has plenty of games on it.
I'm worried that this is going to be kind of like a win lane, lose game type situation. Because I think they have ways to deal with refraction later on, namely the Ion Shell doing that constant dot damage if somebody's able to get in on top of the Lina without, or with the TA without getting just obliterated first. But yeah, I think they have ways to deal with the refractions. So yeah, I think the TA will I think they will come out of lanes in a decent position, will North Macedonia, but I think ultimately Bulgaria is going to be able to win this game.
Yeah, this is already looking great for him. One of BCM's most played heroes of all time on the mid, besides, of course, his classic Invoker, is Templar and Ember.
Sure.
With Lina not too far behind. So he understands how to play both of these heroes rather effectively. So as we cut into the game, I got a good feeling he knows how to deal with this TA. Equipping it on the Lina. Especially because Lina, again, is another one of those heroes that, like the Sniper, can build the Silver Edge, have a lot of strengths to deal with, and can just go in sort of a turret mode. And just kind of just right-click all day.
Yeah, I mean, if this TA gets big, if she comes out of lane super far ahead, she can get to this point where she's just running around the map, blinking and destroying people, cutting through them with disregard for all human life. But, you know, that's always in the situation of ifs. Is this looking like it is going to be First Blood picked up? Oh, Fairy Fire to save him. One more Whirling Death would do it. Oh, it's just going to be the Blood Grenade.
Base right click. Yeah, with the bit of Blood Grenade, just that extra little bit of chip damage in. And now everyone else in Bulgaria has to back on up, as they aren't able to turn this into a 5v5 to try to attempt to even remotely balance this out in the slightest.
Yeah, but Mind Control says that's okay. I'm just going to go up, take your top runes then. If you guys want to control this area, that's fine. We'll allow you to have it. We'll just go ahead and take the top runes, and we'll just still switch 2 for 2. And they're going to go 3 for 1 here.
And this gets a little bit worrying, because Darkseer is able to freely surge around to grab multiple of those runes, take full advantage of the situation.
Yeah, I mean, First Blood is still worth it in that situation. Getting First Blood is worth more gold than going 3 for 1 on bounty runes. But, as well as the XP advantage as well. But, that is a good start for North Macedonia.
But you can see in the reality, it ends up being about equal all around. Nothing too distinct. Going to keep the game very neutral early on. The main thing it means is that there's no way for any of these like late First Bloods that can really get one of those 1 or 2 items earlier than usual. And even if it did, the early item would be on the Enchantress. Not really that much of a difference maker.
She might get like an early boost. And then like rotate around the map.
Yeah. And nice to chase around, but considering you do have all of these attackers, like the Lena and the Morphling, I don't think they're in any danger of dying to this Enchantress. The Rubik can get harassed pretty hard by the right click, especially considering the Darkseer's melee. Might be a kill. She can get that one more arrow in.
Fairy Fire.
Good adjustment, and the Fairy Fire, the Ghost dispelling. And now the Darkseer can go for a little bit of a strike back, especially as this Rubik's regenning up. The Thirst will give away the warning that he's turning back, at least. So the Enchantress will know to go away. Not get caught completely exploited yet. Means Bloodseeker's able to have a decent time getting some farm. Same with the Morphling. Pretty much every single core across the board having a nice time. Except maybe a little bit on this Timber Saw. Because Morphling doesn't care for his pure damage stat attribution shenanigans. As annoying as they can certainly be, even with a stun. Just get that strength transfer and he's all good to go. This is nice, clean, solid start. Continuing to get that harassment on Little Pleb. Foot boils down, still not being that big of a deal. As the last creeps are being taken down. What it is a big deal for her, though, is at least this Undying for now. It will really help them harass in this lane. You can see both the Morph and the Undying kind of just having to sit in the back. Just let him get his last hits. Just hard tank this damage. Use the spells for confirming the last hits, unable to do much more. A little bit different mid, though, as this TA is having a hard time due to those Fiery Soul stacks already starting to come on in.
Yeah, starting to get a bit of a lead here. 19 and 8, 20 and 8 to 15 and 6. There might still be creeps available in the mid lane for the TA, so that might not be as bad as it sounds here, but a creep wave advantage is a creep wave advantage, so starting to squeak out a little bit of a lead here is the TA, is BZM, but again, I think that is just via player skill. I think that is to be expected. I'm not really sure how that mid lane matchup is supposed to go, quote unquote, but yeah.
Certainly. It's one I'm not sure about, but it seems to be going pretty well for the Lena. The TA is also having a pretty good time.
Yeah, both heroes are getting what they want out of the lane, to say the least. So I don't think it's really that big of a deal just yet. The TA, she's gonna do her thing. Hopefully she'll get she'll either get her early Dezo, she'll get her Dragonlance, and then she'll start going to the woods and start like power farming there as well. Hopefully some stacks will be made up for her. So then she'll be able to come back and then eventually take the lead just because she farms very fast with those side blades. But yeah, we'll see if they're actually able to execute that.
The nice thing the Enchantress is able to do is essentially create this extra third body that can be used to block camps or harass.
Yep.
Anything needed using the spells, and it forces the Rubik away. Still has the spell chain to try to get some damage in. But the main core differential is, meanwhile, the Timber Saw is getting all this harassment off. The Darkseer is unable to do anything of the sorts. So only has 13 last hits while the Bloodseeker spills away. A benefit for North Macedonia to work with.
Yeah, you should be able to make a comeback.
Yeah, certainly the Ion Shell helps with that good farming. But it's going to be rough for the beginning, and the main time that Bulgaria can be caught exposed is this early game. So every death will matter.
Almost caught Lil Pleb sleeping. So BZM won the XP race. She is level 6. So that should be the death of this Enchantress.
Just not fair.
Burn, baby, burn.
Being able to benefit and deal with that Enchantress that's being so pesky top early. Means the Darkseer can do a little bit more of his typical Ion Shell wave cutting shenanigans. Same way we saw the axe earlier. Speaking of axes, the whirling axes bringing... well, not whirling axes, but technically blades. Whirling axes.
They cut down trees. They may as well be axes.
There's a lot of effectively whirling axes because you got the Beastmaster, you have the axe, you have the timber saw, you also have the troll warlord.
Yep.
Which in
his
fact
are actually the whirling
had
axes.
the passive flip with Beastmasters for a year, a long time ago. He used to have the inner beast instead, which makes things even more confusing. But I like it though. Axes, kind of one of my favorite melee weapons. Bash something with.
Oh yeah. Most of my favorite characters in video games use axes.
I feel sad for them.
Fun to be able to just go in with the huge axe energy.
Oh yeah, it just makes you feel like a Viking or something. I don't know what it is. It just makes you feel cool.
Exactly.
Zip zap
fighting
feeling
in the
cool,
blood.
getting that solo kill.
Able to get the rupture off on the Undying, and as much strength as he can steal, can't steal himself away to take all that blood loss.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Could you imagine if rupture didn't work on heroes that like lacked blood? How annoying that would be.
I mean that'd be like
oh
super
sorry,
hard
you're
counters.
using it on a necro and a ranking. You're screwed. It's useless. That would be hilarious and devastating.
Yeah,
but
that
it is a
basically-
magical spell after all, so it's kind of like, I guess it's not real blood, it's magical essence blood, life essence. Fun little loopholes. Yeah, Timbersaw now with the Vanguard with the reactive armor. Pretty much impossible to pierce. Warfling having one of my favorite emotes, having basically the CSGO taunt. Having the sawed-off shotgun. Although sawed-off will be the Timbersaw, as the Lena drops the Laguna, plus all the spell damage coming in from the Morphling.
Oh no, they're gonna steal the stacks.
For Rubik, yeah, they have this info. They've already dropped down the Tombstone to try to take these TA stacks.
They're gonna
The
steal
issue
the
is
stacks,
she is
Trevor.
nearby. The trap taken on out. They need something to be able to work with it. That will be the Lena that has now been ruptured, forced to teleport away, barely able to live. And now that Tombstone's going to be plus 120 for the TA. Rubik taken on down. No rupture to chase, at least. Not really much damage the Morphling can provide yet. Now resetting, going ahead and just stacking those ancient camps even further. Understanding there is no way for Bulgaria to clear it out. We're just trying to bait rotations out, I would suspect, with the Tombstone originally to begin with. Didn't pan out as well as they would have liked. Like the idea of trying to force the rotations. Especially since this TA will be known when she does go to try to farm these stacks. Trap in place, activated on the Undying. He's going to try to blink away, but the surprise Timbersaw from the side will get in that extra bit of magic damage needed to ensure that he cannot teleport out.
Whoopsha.
That's a Doom Darkseer. No way to teleport out of this one. He'll make it take as long as he can, but will be fruitless as this top tower is about to go down, and it's the same with mid. And this slight 1k net worth lead that's nice to have is going to soon melt away with these two towers. in a moment. Enchantress, lucky to have her life.
Yeah, I thought that Laguna was gonna do her in.
I would suspect BZM did as well, or else he wouldn't have gone for it.
Sure.
Not a move.
Now they're just gonna brute force this tower down.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
The remote mine making it very pesky for the Darkseer to go in and tuck those last hits. Techi's trying to deny, is unable to connect. Sentry scene being placed, stop the Invislina. Stop her from stealing the jungle. BZM still able to gain that gold while the Bloodseeker chills in the mines trying to get some of his own.
This TA hasn't really been able to get going, man. BZM did a good job in lane.
The Radiant's bottom tower has seen better days.
Do have a slight gold lead. It keeps bouncing back and forth, so there's really not much of a gold lead at all. It's about a last hit of a creep worth of gold lead, but it is currently favoring North Macedonia.
Link's Bloodseeker able to farm hard, and the Timbersaw so much slow and pure damage that with the stat reduction, doesn't matter how strong the multiplier is on this Undying, the Timbersaw is made to eradicate it. However, it has to be able to finish it off, and with the BZM rotation, we'll be able to stall long enough to ensure that the Undying doesn't get burned away when it comes to stats. And just barely saved, able to get the chains off and keep on running. This Lina does have the boots of travel plus the wind lace, but it's thanks to the Rubik with the sticky mines to be able to get the slow in to ensure he can't get away. This Lina's going Blink Dagger next item, which I find very interesting, considering I don't think she's getting any mana with her neutral item. The Enchantress will not have a life getting removed. BCM able to finish it off, now on an unstoppable streak. Certainly starting to get in the lead of this TA now. Okay, she does have the Occult Bracelet for the mana regen. So does the Darkseer, so we definitely have the popularity of the bracelet. Got the 4 of them in play.
Yep,
Good neutral. So good. You just take the damage that you're expected to take with your HP as you're using your spells and get effectively 2 to 3 Sage's Mask worth of value out of it.
Radiant's bottom tower has been denied.
Definitely expected to still get nerfs at some point.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Would really help to slow down all of this bloodshed that's thrown early on.
Has been a little bit of an active game, 13 kills in 16 minutes. I think right now North Macedonia wants the game to slow down just a little bit for their TA to get some items. And then run hard, because this Morphling, he's farming. Already has the Manta working his way towards the Scotty as we see the Enchantress get cut down by BZM.
Able to continue getting that success, and as I try to look forward, if there's any beneficial negative changes to that Occult Bracelet. No, it's actually only gotten buffs since the major update. To get the 4 attributes and also the 10% magic resistance. On top of still having the mana regen, which I feel like is a little too much to have all of that on a single item. There's some tier 3 items that only provide 10% magic resistance, like the mini radiance. But now, Manta
reflection
on the Morphling. Yeah, that reflection's going to be burnt away because of those illusions. Able to get another one off, and now a bit of lockdown on the Morphling, but he can easily steal away TA's buffs for himself. The only benefit he won't have is the trap, which, I'll be honest, the Morphling likely isn't concerned with. And just they'll be waiting till later on. The more farmed this Timbersaw gets, the more farmed the Morphling gets.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
With that 40% attribute steal against Universal Heroes later on, it'll completely gimp and make this Timbersaw half as effective, quite literally, in every single aspect.
Gotcha.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Run, little bottom tower. Run.
The Nightmare BZM will collect one of those Wisdom Runes.
Dire's
Chilling towards the top one.
But it doesn't look good.
You can see a little bit of a
Dire's top tower
ideally
is under
gank setup, but really just clearing out the jungle, getting some farm on the Morphling with the Undying. Clearing out those mines.
when you play with.
Yeah, they're just kind of yin-yanging the map right now. Just farming the opposite part where the enemy isn't. And trying to hit their item timings before they clash for their next engagement. Gonna force a response from the TA to come back and defend up top, where the Morphling was just applying pressure. As he already has one ultimate orb, again working his way towards that Iescati. He's committed there now. After that, it looks like he wants to go for the butterfly. BZM went Blink Dagger after the Boots of Travel. Now he wants to go Octarine Core into the Aghanim Scepter. So he is going to be going this magic damage build, which was kind of my expectation coming in. They already have physical damage taken from by Lil Pleb, so there's no need to double dip into that same well when you have a hybrid hero that can go another way.
Also, on top of it, the Lina with Fiery Souls already has decent physical damage that you can power up later on to join in with the Morphling. And on top of all of that, Octarine has been nerfed for all these strength cores that it's been great for, like the Dooms.
Sure.
But that's been by replacing the Perseverance with a Void Stone.
Right.
So now double Void Stones, these spellcasters like Lina that enjoy the Octarines, I feel like the damage is maybe just too low at the moment, because I feel like I would see 1 billion Leshes by now, but he hasn't been touched at all. You'd be one that would normally benefit a lot off of this as well. But it's just the Lina that seems to have grown in popularity. Doesn't make it any less true of its value.
Sure.
How much damage it lets people pop out.
Maybe working towards a little clash here, the first one in about 5 minutes or so.
Perhaps a clash for Roshan or Macedonia. They are smoking, expecting to go into this. Getting the blood right out will confirm the Roche attempt being made, but looks like they don't want to dedicate any further.
Oh, they're gonna smoke up. Bulgaria wants this fight.
Smoke should have ended up being seen because of the observer on the twin gates. Morphling getting locked down early. Thankfully can use the waveform, able to freely get away. Darkseer still in danger. Rupture soon to fade. In fact, Rupture steal will not rupture, but the rest, the Blood Rage stolen by the Morphling, using the Bloodseeker Thirst to be able to freely chase around and have that additional movement. Fully capitalizing on his opponent on top of the Laguna Blade, securing the Enchantress. and being able to delay for all this time to ensure that North Macedonia waste all of their spells in the fight and can freely reset.
Yeah, a little bit of a broken, disjointed fight there. North Macedonia never really saw their avenue to go in. They tried to force it a little bit. Now the Bloodseeker is gone. But seems like they've given up on the Roshan attempt themselves as they send the Morphling up top. So maybe this will open for the TA to be able to come in here and steal the Roshan #1. She loves Roshan, does this TA hero. And it looks like they're going to attempt to do exactly that. So they lost the battle, but they won the war.
Effectively, I mean, look at this. 4 minus armors through the techies, likely working on a Solar Crest, at least has the medallion, and everything else TA has to work with. Interestingly enough, the focus being on the Morphling, not the stat steal. Maybe feeling like it doesn't benefit him that much, especially this early in the game. We'll be shooting for that Scotty and the Butterfly to follow. Go for that raw damage. And just benefit off the Morphling morph itself.
Yeah, I mean, there's not like a Terrorblade, an August Siren, something like that in this game that would just absolutely get shredded by losing their stats. I mean, not that any of these heroes like losing their stats by any stretch of the imagination, but it's just not like one of those games. So, understand why he's prioritizing other items before that Aghanim Scepter, but he switched it up. He's decided that he wants to go it before the Butterfly. So he only prioritized the Scotty, which I think is the right decision regardless. The Scotty is a needed item on this Morphling. Just provides extra tank, a lot of good stats, extra damage, and the slow from the Scotty hits are just lovely. He can keep people in there, keep people within his limited attack range, and really just pump out that raw damage until he can waveform the rest of the way and close out the deal.
Already has that Scotty finish, even has the passive Morbid Mask. Because, you know, the goal is to have this high armor, just as much HP as required.
Right.
And having that insane base attack means the amount of sustain, even just the basic 15% lifesteal, provides reduced even further on the creeps, is still a significant amount for him. And that sustain's required to fight against a TA that potentially might go for a fight with this Aegis at any time. Soon to be going for the Nullifier, I would presume. Considering she has the Sacred Relic queued up. Anything else I feel would be absolutely insane, whether it be the Divine or the Radiance. Definitely not TA items.
No. So that's a Mjolnir complete on this Bloodseeker hero.
Well, actually, if that's the case, who's the Nullifier for?
I don't know. Maybe... I'm not sure how it would interact with Surge.
I don't think it dispels anything. It doesn't remove the Rubik stuff. Surge it might. Surge is dispellable. But that's the only thing at all that comes to mind, unless there's some other detail to note. I guess it does pierce through that BKB, but there's no BKB carriers on Bulgaria either. I feel like none of them would be building such a thing.
I feel sad for
Fuel
them.
for my fire.
Thankfully, with the TA having the Aegis, they're able to get some pressure and work on trading these tier 2 towers top and bottom.
Radiant structure.
In place.
Try to shoot for that as a goal to me.
For the twins. Lady's bottom tower was always the weakest tower. Dire's top tower is under attack.
So
Really,
it's
I haven't
very
really
odd.
felt the mind control factor in this game.
The Dire's top
Yeah,
tower is
it's
doing
been very
best, but it doesn't look good.
passive. Not that much going on. I mean, the Darkseer wants the team fights. Meanwhile, the Morphling, Lena are for more pickoffs like that. Looking to get their farm. The Ag's now coming for the Morphling. Soon enough will be the next pickup. Good shutdown against the Agi of the TA or the Bloodseeker, and also has that lovely, lovely benefit of completely eradicating the Timbersoft. They feel like that's more of an issue. Oh, actually, you know what it might be for now that I realized? It's, it might be for herself. Well, no, you can't remove the refraction, so...
Tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is weak.
Maybe you're just worried about a Blood Rage on Morphling? Just in case. That would make him even more terrifying. Especially with what the Ags can do for the Bloodseeker. Or not the Ags, but the Ag Shard.
So with that Aegis, their net worth actually decreased. They went from being up about 4K, 3K, now they're up 1K in net worth here, as we are going to have a 5-man smoke up. And there are a lot of heroes in the area there, so I wouldn't be surprised if we have at least a mini tiff, if not a full-out engagement coming down the pike here. But, so Bulgaria doing a good job of splitting the map, of pushing waves where North Macedonia were not, and farming jungle camps to decrease this net worth advantage that they had.
Yeah, as all things as Lena getting so many kills has pointed out. Soon that smoke's going to pop on the other side of trees. They're going to understand exactly where that's from. The Rubik going for the blink to try to catch. Will not succeed. The Undying now giving a hint. Techie's throwing a mine up there, seeing if it was warded or not.
Oh, they're in.
The mine, or, well, the trap rather, getting on Melina. She'll pop the Laguna Blade early.
Radiant's top tower.
Yeah,
Just to get
20
some
second
harassment
cooldown.
off. Yeah, and with the Octarine, basically infinite mana, so it's no big deal. Both of these teams now smoking to do the exact same thing. Directly grouped up on the mid lane. Timbersaw trying to give the initial delay, but this Morphling does have the Ags silenced for this second. But now with the TA's position given up, the Rubik soon to be taken down. Rupture pulled off. Can't tell the target. Looks like the Darkseer.
Good
Morphling
blast
still
off.
yet to morph. Patiently waiting, decides to become the Bloodseeker, steal that attack speed. Well, some of those base stats, and you can see exactly why. The movement speed now
Bottom tower is under attack.
he has is absolutely insane. Looked like he dropped at about 700 for a moment. So, good damage off of the techies, it looked like, that
Dire's bottom tower
fight
is falling.
recap highlighted. A few picks, but this gap is slowly grinding away. Feels like everyone on
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
the side with mind control, they're just having to play the slow grinding game on Bulgaria. Not that same high level of quick action we'd often see.
Radiant
Scan, eager to know Dire's whereabouts.
quick Tormentor taken, as that is the Daedalus complete on this TA. Here's a quick look at that engagement that we just saw in the river. A little bit of an awkward engagement, blinking in, taking out the Rubik, getting caught with that 2-min LSA, but a blast off kind of saves their bacon there.
And
as they are able to retreat.
It surprised me the Morph decided to go so late to go for the Axe Morph. It had, honestly, zero impact in this engagement. Not like it was negative or a waste or anything. Still have all of its value in the future. Certainly felt like he was too conservative to use it initially. But you know he's having a good game when he hasn't spent a little bit on the Shard. Now been able to use the Morph on the Tidehunter, or not the Tidehunter, but the Timber Saw. And you can see how chonky of a boy he is right now. Just able to completely eradicate the Enchantress, freely run around, take all these mines with the reactive armor. And then, of course, change back to his good old self.
Oh, the lift.
Definitely has the extended duration on the Morph as well. I think it just went away now, considering his HP. Yep, the plus 16 Morph duration, the waveform attacks targets too. And you can see his base 270-ish attack that entire time. Plus all of the stats from the Timber Saw. Likely effectively doubling his HP through his strength while giving him about another 50 damage worth of right click. And the Mana Despair, just in case he needs it. If we take a good look at that Timber Saw, we can give an idea of how many stats he's stealing on top of the spells with the damage. Which is probably ludicrous. We'll note on the side how this Lena has the Ags of her own, so many spells. And wow, I'm surprised the win probability actually didn't swing that much, just the net worth did. It was still 50-50 at best, even with the 5 to 10k net worth lead that North Macedonia had. Aware of the situation of the lead Bulgaria has been able to build. 5k healing off the Darkseer.
Bulgaria comfortably in command of this game now. And I think they'll actually use this Aegis to take objectives, whereas North Macedonia, their Aegis was not used to take objectives. Then they even lost net worth lead over the course of that Aegis. I don't expect the same to be done from the side of Bulgaria. I think they're starting to smell blood in the water. They're going to start circling, and they're going to go for the kill.
Oh, God. This Morphling's got a Satanic and a double damage in a bottle.
Yeah.
I don't think he could be any stronger right now. Not for a long while. He doesn't need the Ag Shard for safety. He gets his safety off of stealing the Timber Saw. Has ways to tank that cannot be answered at all by North Macedonia. A way to pierce through all that bonus armor he can potentially obtain. And this tier 3 is melting without the DD popped. Immediately as soon as the engagement starts. He'll pop it afterwards as he's going for the waveform. And now this tier 3 will really start to become a disappearing act. No minus armor needed. The nullifier being used on him. But again, not really any benefit to it. I think it's a bit of a itemization mistake from Stolchov. Made of panic, as this Morphling isn't going to care about that. Has the Pavis supporting him on the side, as well as the good old bonus armor and attack speed. This Morphling is free to walk wherever he pleases at this point. I'm not sure how North Macedonia are supposed to stop this man.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't know if they're going to be able to, buddy. I think that the fat lady, she's starting to warm up her vocal cords here. She's getting ready to come out on stage and have her moment in the sun, as it's going to take a silence into a blast off into a bunch of damage that they don't necessarily have to bring down this Morphling, and that's only going to kill him the first time. He still has an Aegis of the Immortal in his back pocket.
Still has another 2 minutes on that. Has the boots now, so has that proper full 450 move speed. Morphling is better known for having.
They just don't have the tools to deal with this Morphling now that he's big. Like...
And you know he feels safe, considering the fact that he mentioned, and it is known that Lincoln's is one of Morphling's favorite items to pick up.
Right.
He hasn't even started building one. He doesn't feel the need. He's essentially 6-slotted, and none of those items are Lincoln's. He is the Manta for his defense and nothing else. Pure damage and destruction otherwise.
The Dire's top tower is doing its
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he? He doesn't need anything else. He's got those stats stolen from the Timber Saw, so he's about 340 right click while having 3k HP and 57 armor.
Dire's top barracks have fallen. Let there be a moment of silence.
45 seconds still on the Aegis. Just gonna wave for him through a bunch of mines real quick like nothing's happening. As they're making it go onto the back lines here. Oh, but the LSA clips onto the Bloodseeker. Oh no.
And have the vacuum wall into wall just in case for that extra bit of damage. This TA has
It's
absolutely nothing to answer this Morph, let alone the Lina. GG is called. They'll surrender. Game 1, a very slow grind from Team Bulgaria, but a very successful, solid execution, understanding their win conditions and just taking their time to get there, not letting things slip away from them. Some odd item purchases from the TA.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the correct way would have been. Maybe a Bloodthorn on the TA to help deal with this Morphling would have been nice. Something like that, but she didn't come out of lanes nearly as far ahead as she needed to, and yeah, they weren't really able to capitalize. I mean, even they made a good play. They were able to take Roshan #1, and they weren't really able to leverage that into much of anything. They didn't grow their net worth lead, nor did they really take objectives off the back of that, so they didn't really do anything with it. The game state didn't really change much to favor them after they got the Aegis of the Immortal. And that, I think, credit of that goes to Bulgaria for just playing the map better, just simply playing the map better. And yeah, and I think that's really the tonality of the entire game, is that Bulgaria just played the map better. They understood when they were strong. They took fights when they were strong. When they weren't, they did not. And they just kind of controlled the game. They controlled when fights were taken, really, this entire time. I mean, how many times in this game did you see North Macedonia being the ones on the front foot, making with the initiation, making the plays, getting a support pick to start a fight?
When they had the best strength, maybe the first 5 to 10 minutes, not much after.
Right.
And it took a bit, but BCM was able to be that highlight that we haven't mentioned that has also been an MVP, because of course that Morphling took a bit of time to be able to have that proper farm, to have success, but that Lina from the get-go was getting the ganks in, getting those surprise early kills on that Timber Saw, so he couldn't have that early game that could have slowed down that Morphling, and instead let that later stage of the map show up nice and handedly to ensure it gets its full security.
Yeah. I mean, a great game from BZM here. As I mean, I really think that a lot of this game can be accredited to him. I mean, his lane against the TA was maybe the most important lane in the game. He won that lane just by drawing that lane, and actually he came out of that lane slightly ahead of the TA, if I remember correctly. And then he used that, he rotated around the map, he got a lot of kills, he was active, he was everywhere, and he didn't die. I mean, he went Blink Dagger first item, and he did not die on this Lina, just went unpunished by that. So he just played a great game, knew exactly when he could go in, when he couldn't go in, and he just used his extra mobility and abused his extra mobility all throughout the game.
It made it even harder for the Timber Saw to escape, and then just got that Octarine, got that Ags, got all that pure damage going on. No way for him to escape, completely pierce him through, as we pierce and cut our way to a break, and when we come back, map number 2, to see if some recovery can be made.
One purpose. One dream. One rhythm. One step closer to glory.
Enemy spotted.
They say history remembers the winner. So who will be the ones writing the future? The halls of power call for their kings. The ones who won't back down. The ones who believed. The ones who knew that over 100 nations can't be wrong. Join the fight between August 24th and September 3rd as Yash becomes the world's esports capital.
In the heart of Iași, Romania, the world's top gamers have gathered for the ultimate showdown. IESF brings heart-stopping matches across a variety of gaming genres in an electrifying experience that celebrates the passion and dedication of esports athletes from around the globe. This is more than just a tournament. This is where champions are born, legends are made, and anything is possible. Get ready to witness the ultimate display of skill, strategy, and heart. The IESF World Esports Championship. It's about to take your breath away.
Do you think you've got what it takes? The challenge will be tougher than ever. In 2023, International Esports has a new home. Over 100 nations fighting for the championship in a celebration of everything that makes esports great. Who will rise up to the challenge? Who will be the world champion?
One purpose. One dream. One rhythm. One step closer to glory.
Enemy spotted.
They say history remembers the winner. So who will be the ones writing the future? The halls of power call for their kings. The ones who won't back down. The ones who believed. The ones who knew that over 100 nations can't be wrong. Join the fight between August 24th and September 3rd as Yash becomes the world's esports capital.
In the heart of Iași, Romania, the world's top gamers have gathered for the ultimate showdown. IESF brings heart-stopping matches across a variety of gaming genres in an electrifying experience that celebrates the passion and dedication of esports athletes from around the globe. This is more than just a tournament. This is where champions are born, legends are made, and anything is possible. Get ready to witness the ultimate display of skill, strategy, and heart. The IESF World Esports Championship. It's about to take your breath away.
Do you think you've got what it takes? The challenge will be tougher than ever. In 2023, International Esports has a new home. Over 100 nations fighting for the championship in a celebration of everything that makes esports great. Who will rise up to the challenge? Who will be the world champion?
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Quite a shocking game one that felt competitive for a while, but Bulgaria able to eventually get that win as expected. Though it just took us a while to get there. The draft felt very beautiful from them, really denying North Macedonia from being able to make any strong answers to be able to handle it. But being able to have at least decent individual performances, especially in that laning phase, which I feel like is the key, one of the two key details when you want to perform well, especially in this current meta. The other one, of course, being just the draft itself. You need to make sure you have the solid draft that allows you to have these decent laning phases, and then once you do, you can piece together everything from there.
Right.
So they're getting, they have the puzzle pieces available to them, just need to make sure they're put together the right way.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I mean, if anything else, they showed that they can stand on the field of play with Bulgaria. So there is still hope for a game number 3 for those of you North Macedonians and North Macedonian fans out there watching the stream. There is hope, and there will be a draft soon. Not quite yet, but it will be coming soon, guys. Hang in there. You won't have to look at our ugly mugs for too much longer. Soon there will be a draft for us to pay our attention to. But yeah, man, that BZM Lena took care of business there. And I mean, really, we didn't really get to feel a whole lot of contribution from mind control in that game. MC, he mostly did a lot of healing. He had a couple of good walls, but largely his impact was a little bit smaller. But so hopefully in game number 2, MC can have a bit of a better showing for himself. He had a rough lane. So it makes sense that he had a little bit of a rough game.
Yeah, immediately Morphling, the first thing banned after that experience. Bulgaria understandably going back to the Broodmother ban. I'm hoping to see a Broodmother brought out instead.
Makes a little bit more sense this time, right? Bulgaria don't have first picks, so get rid of the Broodmother. No chance for the 5-pick Brood that you're going to have to deal with and answer to for the rest of the game. So kind of makes sense in that thought process. So more North Macedonia, they're going to steal the Undying for themselves this game. Strong laning presence, able to help take objectives, help take that Roshan with the Tombstone. Really good helps with the team fights with that Tombstone as well. Kind of forces you, especially in the early game, it forces you to make a decision. Are we going to hit heroes? Or are we going to leave the fight? Are we going to hit the Tombstone? What are we going to do? Anytime you're asking questions of the enemy, that's always good because sometimes they're going to answer incorrectly. So
there's a lot of good answers and responses you can make, though. I mean, the entire gimmick's about stealing that strength early. The same thing that the Morphling's able to do later on.
Sure.
The Timbersaw being banned is one of the fantastic default options, so seeing him removed is troublesome. But another fantastic one that you can flex in many roles is something like the Snapfire, maybe, if you wanted to. That we've seen a good bit. But also the Batrider. Not banned out this time, so could bring him out. But instead deciding for a lane dominator that can endure an Undying if required. An interesting move.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what they do with this monkey. Are they going to put this monkey mid? Are they going to put a carrier? Are they going to put it in the 4 role? What are they going to do with this monkey? Because this is an early monkey pick, unprotected. You don't really see anything. You only see the Undying here. That doesn't scream pick Monkey King. So that's very interesting to me.
Okay.
And they're going to go ahead and pick up the Venomancer here as well. So just a bit of a disgusting opener coming out from Bulgaria.
I mean, you know the Undying's going to be a 5, so get a strong lane matchup, and most importantly, if they get tempted to go for something like this Ember Spirit, or maybe even the TA, I have a feeling Monkey King does great against both of those heroes, so they won't have issue. So the Medusa to try to punish it going on through.
I was
That's
wondering
their
if they
second
were
pick
going
with
to
it
8
floating
pick the
through.
Medusa.
Yeah, because now they can freely ban the AM and
Yep.
pretty much most of the traditional hard counters you'd have to that matchup.
Yep, so traditionally what we've been seeing the AM ban, the Naga Siren ban. I've been calling for a PL ban. We've not seen the PL ban yet, but PL is another good answer to the Medusa. All of this is assuming that the Monkey King is not the carry, and they didn't 6-pick their carry here. As, you know, I'm not sure if they're going to run an off-lane Veno. I think it's much more likely to be a 4-position Veno, so that would mean this Monkey King has to be in a core role 1 or 2. So interesting decisions that they're going to have to make. They're going to go ahead and get rid of the Darkseer here, as I think that's a good decision as well. Darkseer is a good laning support, or a good laning hero against the Medusa. We've seen it time and time again, just the Ion Shell to whittle down the mana pool, and then next thing you know, you're just whittling down health, and there's only like 280 of those points, so not a whole lot to go around. So get rid of that. Wouldn't be surprised if we see the Naga ban coming out next.
Yeah, that would be my presumption, but Bulgaria are trying to wait for her to figure out what kind of bans they want next. Trying to remove the lockdown like the Legion. I would like to see another follow-up, either remove something like the Tidehunter for the team fight, or maybe the Axe, but they're going to focus on a Quap that would be a fantastic answer to the Monkey if he was to go mid. So it's good to remove that so you can still have that flex.
10 seconds remaining.
Pain would be a good hero here. They don't really have any lockdown yet to hold down a Queen of Pain, so she'd be able to come into fights, blink out pretty much at her own decision-making process. So it makes sense to get rid of that there. I wouldn't be surprised maybe they want to take out a spirit hero, maybe like a Storm, something like that, if that's the kind of thing that they're worried about. Puck is also somebody that would be considered. They're going to go ahead and get rid of the Slark here. So no Echo Diffusal Slark is going to be in this game. Could be a good pick. Likes to just take away those Essence Shift stats, chonk away at this Medusa, chonk away at this Undying. So I understand the decision there as well.
Yeah, on top of the Darkseer, which can just play her at her own game. A bit of a small issue, because speaking of playing at her own game, there's been one amazing support we haven't seen put into play, or even banned yet, which is the Shadow Demon.
We've not seen Shadow Demon today. We have not seen the Shadow Demon today. And I mean, that would maybe be a decent pick against the Medusa. You can turn her strength against her. They're going to pick up the Windrunner. That's a Diffusal Blade carrier, so that's going to be their answer to the Medusa.
And it also doesn't tell what lane the Monkey's still going to be in. It could be mid or safe, mirroring with the Wind Ranger. Don't know exactly how it's going to be handled yet. The Wind Ranger, fantastic in either of those situations, can abuse with the Shackle and Power Shot with the Venomancer slow, or just abuse it against a weak mid against her. Plenty of options available. And with that Wind Run, they're going to ban the Shadow Demon themselves to give that mobility, the Bat Rider, to respond, to try to give some lockdown to try to capture her.
Yeah, we just saw this lane, 2 games ago, the Bat Rider versus Windrunner, and the Bat Rider came out commandingly ahead in that situation. So, gonna go dual melee supports here. Big, beefy boys with this Spirit Breaker as well as the Undying are gonna be their support duo. So, I mean, I guess it could still be offlane Spirit Breaker. That is a potentially thing. I know I've seen offlane Undying in South America, but I doubt that's a tech that's over here in Europe. I fully expect this to be a support Undying. So, yeah, I think it's just the Spirit Breaker that's still a little bit up in the air. But, yeah, now the impetus is back onto Bulgaria to try to round out their draft here.
Yeah, the Bat Rider likely a response to the mid-Wind Ranger. And when you have a Spirit Breaker on top of it, the level of lockdown is worrying. However, that Enigma does a good bit of damage and lockdown on most of these heroes. I feel like he's one of the weaker ones to go up against a Medusa. So I feel like something like the Tidehunter would be a lot more useful, although that doesn't pierce through BKBs like Enigma's does. And Bat Rider's cooldown's like 40 seconds anyways on the lasso, so I'm not sure how much he's really going to care about that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Enigma just got buffed in the last little mini patch, so maybe they're wanting to test him out, see how strong he is. I'm sure Mind Control has played it in pubs, so he knows that the hero, when the hero is ready to go in the professional scene. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I mean, that does kind of sound like a bit of a cancerous lane. You get Venomous Galed and you get Malefice, and then you just kind of get walked down with the Eidolons and the right-click damage, the Poison Sting, keeping you slowed down. So that lane does sound kind of cancerous. It's not as bad as, like, Tiny Enigma, for example, which is about the strongest laning pairing for the Enigma. But you can see the synergy there with the Venomancer.
Also, so much room to farm around the map for both the Veno and the Enigma to be able to capitalize, just get that extra gold, just try to build a real lead early to snowball off of.
10 seconds remaining.
Although, what are they looking for then at this point? I would
5
presume...
seconds remaining.
Bulgaria or North Macedonia?
Bulgaria. I don't know what they want to go for here.
Either a
weird
support
situation.
or a carry. Is my assumption, is either a support or a carry. But I guess they could flex. I mean, they can't always flex the Windrunner to the carry position. But if they do that, because I think they have to pick first. No. North Macedonia had first pick, so they'll get to see the North Macedonian side completely before Bulgaria has to commit their last pick. So they can kind of decide then what they want to do with the Monkey, what they want to do with the Windrunner, where they want to lane these guys, and what they need to round out the rest of their squad. As
You know
can
what?
see,
Against a Medusa, you could totally offlane Monkey King. They're totally onto something here against the Undying Medusa. So banning out a hard safe lane like the Terrorblade is totally a reasonable move to make. As wild as it looks.
Remaining.
and no surprise, Bulgaria, they ban out those spirit heroes that I talked about. They still don't necessarily have great answers to the spirits. Yes, you do have Black Hole, but that requires that you get the drop on them, or they come in on you and you're able to get the Black Hole off before they're able to get back out. So they're gonna go with the Pangolier here. Good hero, man. I think this is a good Pango game.
They have so much team fight and stun, ways to counteract and deal with the Monkey King, and lock him down as much as he wants to get that Wukong's command out to try to cause trouble.
Because I'm pretty sure he'll still be balled up, even in the Black Hole. So whenever he comes around, he touches the Enigma, that cancels the Black Hole. So, and they're gonna go Juggernaut. So this is a support Monkey King.
You think so?
Yes, La Joya.
Oh wait, yeah, it has to be at this point, because Mind Control is going to be the Enigma, so he's going to be playing at position 3, of course. So, yeah, as much as I would more likely see the Enigma 4 or like it, that's just the kind of situation they put themselves into with the Monkey King.
Yeah, so they're gonna go with the Veno Jug lane. So that it's gonna work in a similar fashion to the Jug CM lane. You just kind of get the slow out with the Gale with the Poison Sting, and he goes to spin, just kind of cuts through somebody. You're gonna have the Monkey King Enigma lane up against Undying Medusa. I think that's just gonna kind of be more of a farm festy kind of lane. I don't really see a whole lot of kill potential there. Unless the Medusa gets caught out with her pants down. Maybe they can catch out the Undying, but the Undying can always just turn around and get double decay stacks. And then you're sad, and the Undying's alive, and he's happy. So, I kind of expect that to be a little bit of a farmy lane. And we're going to see BZM on the Windrunner up against the Pango in the mid lane. And they picked this Pango into the win, so I'm gonna assume that it's a good Pango matchup. I honestly don't know that matchup. I'm not a mid player, so I don't know mid lane matchups all that well. But yeah, that's my expectation because they knowingly picked it into the Windrunners. So
Yeah, which is a rather dangerous move in most situations, because ideally the Wind Ranger should do better. She has a lot more just raw damage and the evasiveness to generally avoid the Bat Rider. It just laning early against it can be very difficult to handle directly.
yeah, it was interesting to me that they decided not to put the Bat Rider up against the Windrunner because we just saw it work so successful. But you know, instead they're going to put it into the off lane, going up against the Juggernaut. And again, I think that should be. I mean, it's not a clean Juggernaut game by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it should be that lane in general should go to the Juggernaut's favor, with the Venomancer helping him out, slowing down the Bat Rider, when the spin to combination, spin to win. So yeah, that's kind of my expectation there. I think we'll see. We're now into the game, so now we get to play the world famous game. How dumb is Rata? And I'm excited to find out the answer of exactly how dumb am I.
We'll have to find out. I really like this draft a lot more from North Macedonia, and I feel like Bulgaria are on the back foot, but this might be entirely deceiving me and getting a little bit of bait in, as you do have the Enigma plus the Juggernaut spin. You're going to have essentially 3 decent diffusal carriers, because I mean the monkey will eventually join in the right clicking. I mean the entire point is to be sort of like you would with a Clinks without the invisibility. Just jump in on someone, still build like things like the Echo Saber for the right click and harassment, getting in that slow. Actually, yeah, what do we have on the Monkey King? I guess is a good question.
Probably boots. Well, we do have a pause, so we're going to have a bit of a break. So we'll just have to ponder about that Monkey King question forever, unless Misu wants to answer that question for us. What starting items does the Monkey King have?
Or maybe he's the one that has a technical issue, so he hasn't bought anything up, so we're doomed to wait anyways.
Oh snap. Maybe, just maybe. It'll be one of those...
that much of a catch on the map.
Philosophers will be debating this question for the next 100 years. What starting items does the Monkey King have?
Yeah, because I can't recall the last time I've seen someone trying to go with this Monkey King as a support. And considering that things like the stun have been significantly nerfed, you want to use him for the damage?
Yeah, I don't know, it's been a while.
Very, like a very odd choice.
I mean, he's still going to do Monkey King things, right? He's still going to provide excellent vision for team fights, excellent vision for objective sieging, and for like Roshan, stuff like that. He's able to jump around the pit, give you vision inside of the Roshan pit, see exactly how low Roshan is, if anybody's in there, stuff like that. The Wukong ring is still good for area control and area fighting. It'll still give him the nice armor. He just won't be that huge menace that he would have been, but in some ways that'll help him, right? Because he's going to be able to... He won't be such a high priority target, I don't feel like. He might be able to live a little bit longer inside his ring, and they might be more willing to fight inside of his ring instead of the Monkey King. It kind of feels like you drop the ring, and unless you have ways to hold him in, they all just run away from you, and then you're sad. So, yeah, that's kind of yeah. But he'll still be able to do the same glorious things that we saw Bavoka do back in what, TI7, TI6, whenever that was. Jesus, I've been watching Dota for so long, it all starts to bleed together.
Yeah, it can become a blur. Speaking of blurs, it only ends up being a 1 second stun on the Boundless. It doesn't become that much greater. I guess it's a long range one, so you can maybe interrupt the Spirit Breaker with it. Considering the Spirit Breaker is a amazing off lane or support role to deal with the monkey in most situations.
So we went Orbit Corrosion.
That's sort of what I was expecting, because you're going to play this like a Clinks. You want to just go for those Jingu mastery stacks. Just build in the poison orb, the slow, the harassment. Just chip away at it bit by bit.
Just never leave the Monkey King. I'm so interested to see the way that he builds this game. Just never leave the Monkey King. Already disobeying a direct order, Misu. He does not respect my Thor attack.
Perhaps. Can you blame him?
Nah, I have no authority.
Certainly. Be aware of that. You can see the Jingu Mastery already building up the Monkey King. Not getting harassed too much by the Strength Steal. Will be a little bit, but this is probably one of those supports that can man-to-man with it. Bonus damage until that Strength is stolen. Probably at about 12 right now for the Undying, considering he took about 8 from the Enigma. Hard to
Even with
really
Jingu, he's
properly
getting
get
out
that
right-clicked by this Undying.
All the more reason I'm sort of weirded out by it early. But I guess with 1 or 2 more levels, it'll outscale, because the decay never becomes stronger until you get an axe. So there is that benefit to work with.
Alright. So now we have level 2. No, we don't quite have level 2 up here in the top lane, just on the cores. That's when things will really start to get fun. Is he going to go wards? Is he going to go Gale? He goes Gale. I like that decision.
It would make a lot more sense to go for the Gale, but you have this danger where the Bat Rider sort of can do the same sort of thing, damage-wise, at level 2. The fact that it's Pango versus Wind Ranger, I don't know how that lane matchup goes. But I feel like this is one the Wind Ranger can play around the Swashbuckle and do a decent job.
She's doing a great job so far. And, yeah, so that, again, that kind of makes me scratch my head and wonder why they decided to put the Bat Rider in the off lane and not in the mid lane. Must be a hero comfortability type thing, is my assumption. Because we just saw the Bat Rider dominate a Windrunner earlier today.
Yeah, but that seems like it's a significant exception to the rule where that very rarely happens. So that just gives credit to how good the Bat Rider play was in that previous series.
Because, I mean, it makes sense, right? Where, like, he starts to Firefly, the Windrunner presses E, and she just runs away. So it would make sense why, like, she should win that lane, but she didn't. So Tombstone's going to be dropped down bottom. And that's going to be first blood drawn. Kate
And the
going to be the one who
with the
picks it up.
zombie providing the vision, no way to kite out of the situation. So Monkey King gets shut down from that harassment, but now
There's
we have
the
that
Gale and
Goblin
spin.
spin with the Venomous Gale and the Blood Grenade, but still, it's not enough with how tanky these two are of the Bat Rider and the Spirit Breaker, so they have to go back and just regen for a bit. Very far from ideal. You see as the Arcane and the Vanguard queued up. Should be able to get at least one of the two. Deciding to go for the brown boots.
Now we get
Revenge by the Eidolons. Dedicating the full charge until the last moment. We'll decide to slow it down. This Six Snake's pretty good against the Eidolons, but now that I think about it, you know what the Eidolons don't have?
What's that?
Mana.
That's true.
So the more the focus is on all these Eidolons that can deny your own range creep where she would get the mana regen from and tank all the Mystic Snake shots, the more useless it becomes in this early laying phase that's so essential for her to be able to find success.
And maybe that's the thought process behind the Enigma pick into the Medusa. As I think the Monkey King is going to die again. The mischief will not save you, sir.
will be able to at least cause a little bit of trouble. But now the Venomous Gale on 2, the spin bound to come shortly. Able to get a bash,
why'd you go down to the low ground?
Should be 2 kills momentarily. I mean, he's still dead anyways because of the Venomous Gale with the right click, but even then still should be attempting to run away for sure.
Yeah, I think maybe he was just trying to maybe Firefly down the Juggernaut potentially.
Deciding to accept his fate. Oh,
Big one shot.
almost getting the Medusa low. You see those Eidolons were countering and forcing her to get chipped down, especially with all the raw right click. Monkey King able to somewhat dodge through, dislodge the snake. And now she's running out of chances.
Medusa.
She's about to die. That is massive, ensuring she can't get that farm early. And now the Boundless Strike's about to be obtained on the Undying. And this
if only you had a tree dance.
Embrace being a core early on as the spin during top is going on once again. The Bat Rider removed, the Spirit Breaker at least able to get the Venomancer, but they believe this Enigma is a hard counter to the Medusa, and I can see why.
Action everywhere.
Sling Face completely shuts her down. The Wind Ranger finding success against the Pango. And it's deaths all across, mostly favoring Team Bulgaria. Just trying to show why they went for this draft.
BZM is going to carry this game again.
And it
Trying
might
to get
not be
back-to-back
just him
deaths on the
alone.
Medusa.
Oh,
they get it.
easily getting it. She did get the mana to regen, give herself a second chance, but it's too late. A trade onto the Enigma, but they're going to be perfectly happy to sacrifice mind control to get those benefits, especially because the Monkey King
the power
essentially is
shot.
becoming a position 3, getting all this damage in.
Power shot of the gods.
A spicy finish. Uh-oh. Looks like the Undying will be stealing that Wisdom Rune. However, I suspect the XP still in the favor of good old Bulgaria. It will devastate the Monkey King.
Oh, he's devastated. He's crying right now. He's so sad.
Most importantly, it means the Veno's likely not close to getting 6. Which I feel like the main person you want to get it on sometime soon enough. Bat Rider just having fun trying to kite the Jug. Nice vision obtained by the Veno, that dire jungle.
Oh, unlucky
Decent
down.
Omni / RNG, but the bounce will allow for the easy disjoint, the healing self to go through. And already Fission, the Spirit Breaker being pinged out, warned about, and forced away. Double damage. Now, the Veno able to protect it for his universal partner of the Wind Ranger. And whoever's bottom's going to die. So, Medusa and Undying about to have a bit of a nightmare. As both the Veno, the Wind Ranger going down here for a 4-man gank. The Undying Tombstone going out, already bursted down, thanks to the Monkey King and the Enigma. Spirit Breaker trying to rotate, nice bashes on the stun, and the Wind Ranger decides to stay mid instead.
Radiant's middle
Has already
tower
popped
is
the
under
DD.
attack.
Close to that Maelstrom, already has the Javelin out. Guess she saw a vision of that courier for a moment, but that's to surrender it. The Pango will get his arcane boot, so he has something to work with. Speaking of which, the good old bottle refill.
I was surprised you were able to get that one off.
Oh boy, there's going to be the double stun on the monkey and the chase. The Spirit Breaker's coming in to rotate mid, but meanwhile, this Bat Rider's trying to burn this Juggernaut to death. The lasso timing is perfect, but the stick's enough to save him that it will not matter. Surprisingly, no deaths other than the Pango mid on the board. And with that mid tower taken down, BCM's efforts have been finished, and now he can really start to go around ganking the map with this Wind Ranger.
Yeah, his game just opened up.
What just closed out is the chances for North Macedonia especially as that Omni/kill finally gets that solo pick off on the Bat Rider that he wishes for. Able to get some pressure on the tower, forcing the Pango to teleport top.
Spin TP. Bye-bye.
We'll be able to slow him down for a moment. We have a game where the Enigma has almost as much farm as the Medusa. Gives you an idea of how things are going for her in lane. And even if she does have nice farm and gets that 1 or 2k gold lead, you need to be able to get to that 10, 20k net worth to be able to have the gold to fight, deal the damage, and win duels. And I don't think anyone in Bulgaria is interested in this. BCM's already skedaddling over, looking to finish the Atos. With Medusa getting a rude hello, the focus fire immediately to follow. No defusal needed. Multiple Lotuses pop isn't enough to save her. And now the black hole onto one will stop the Spirit Breaker bashes for some time. The Finno, the sacrificial land, as well as the other support of the Monkey King. BZM got to slide away, perfect juke on the Pango, but has a long road ahead of her to get out of this, and the defusal will deny that escape.
So she's not going defusal at all. So either the Juggernaut's going to go diff, or they just feel they don't need the defusal blade in this game. They feel like they're going to have the damage with the Gleppy.
I feel like it would take them quite a bit, so I'm not too concerned with it, in all honesty. They have so much raw damage between these heroes, it's going to be a little bit more difficult with the Bat Rider having a Vanguard. But you can see still having to kite up and down the cliffs, still getting rooted by this Wind Ranger, just trying to get the Monkey King on the way out, barely short of it. And he had a salve to spare, so he'll be okay. Go back to his monkey ways. Horns is from area, the Boundless Strike, able to allow him to get a bit of that HP back to sustain. Enigma in for a world of hurt momentarily, as it's going to be a bash into the Pango and gets deleted. No black hole available, no way to even attempt to save. A nice pick off, though delaying the inevitable, as there's two couriers almost getting sniped by the Vinno. But now perhaps it will be the Vinno to be sniped. No stun. As Lasso's still on cooldown for another 30. Will narrowly get away.
What is our Juggernaut hero building?
Whatever he feels like. Probably a Battle Fury in farming, considering his 7.4k net worth.
That's my assumption, but as we're going to look at a highlight here of this Medusa going down, I really thought after that this fight was going to go topside for North Macedonia, but they were able to gut it out and clutch out a little bit of a return here. Getting 2 kills. They still lost their Medusa. It would have felt, and they got BZM, so they went 3 for 1.
It would be fun to eventually see this Wind Ranger not just go for the Atos, as lovely as it is, but go for that defusal afterwards and even upgrade it to that disperser, as she can use it to counteract the slow buffs being given by the Pango. Good way to counter the defusal being the defusal now. If they want to shoot that direction with it.
They know that North Macedonia have invaded into their lands. They're going to know that there's some vision over there as well. I wouldn't be surprised if they deward that here. But they might just decide that they're not really worried about controlling that area. That's fine. They can have vision there. They wasted a ward. That's fine. We're not worried about it. That's also a viable option.
They caused enough trouble, and what we normally see is this focus early on of getting these heavy ancient stacks, having some offlaner farm it, whether it's the Beastmaster or in this case Enigma, followed up by the Jug with the healing ward.
Yeah, so he's going Battle Fury down.
A bit of an old school build. I feel
Yeah.
like we haven't seen that sort of build on Jug in a very, very long time. Although I can get it, this Bat Rider's been caught exposed, Boundless Strike for the initial setup. The trees have been removed, but that's okay because so has the Bat Rider himself. By that focus fire damage. And with all the control the Venomancer's been able to make, there's been no way for this Medusa to get farmed. Locked down, forced to use the ult early just to get away. And meanwhile, this Pango is getting completely shut down by the Cyclone. He's getting so much damage in. Somehow able to life steal his way out of this.
Oh, this is a disaster for Bulgaria.
So much through the raw stats. This Wind Ranger now in danger. A beautiful power shot once again. And now with the Atos, she can start to harass stun lock on this Spirit Breaker. And interestingly enough, he uses the charge defensively because the only focus fire target available is that Spirit Breaker. And with it being used, him not being taken down, this Bat Rider should be able to lasso her. But BCM is delaying this so well. His entire team's respawning, teleporting through. Spirit Breaker now removes another wind run. What a play of a fight that should have gone the other way. What a kiting madman, and now he's going to be going for that defusal. Wind Ranger, meanwhile, against the Medusa. Medusa finally has her Manta style to help her get a little bit of farm.
Yeah, she's starting to get there. Top of the net worth, starting to
Halfway
accumulate.
to the butterfly.
That kill would
Monkey
have been
King
big.
with the defusal,
Dire's
even
middle
though he's
tower
on the
is
support.
under attack.
And BCM able to just gank off. That's 2 kills on the Pango within the past 2 minutes. That's going to be his net worth severely down the drain. And we go into that initial fight where the Veno ults were used. I almost wonder if something like the Viper would have been better if they were planning for this Medusa, since he just has the raw damage rather than the portion set up based on max percent HP.
I think Veno's just in a bit of a better place right now than Viper is.
Just can't resist attacking Radiant's top tower.
So that axe can slap a lot harder. I mean, you can see that damage used by the created by the Wind Ranger is absolutely ludicrous. It's early on able to abuse that individual. Here now, as you can see, the Bat Rider and the Undying Pangolier tied. Spirit Breaker right behind, and this Medusa mostly just trying to farm, so not participating that much.
0-6-1 Bat Rider. I knew he was having a bad game. I didn't realize that he was having that rough of a game.
Yeah, it was already rough because the Wind Ranger, in theory, should have won that mid matchup. Decides to go in the off lane, thinks it's a good pick because of the Monkey King, most likely. And then turns out they bring out this Jug out of nowhere. You have a surprise Monkey King support. You're probably confused as hell and have no way to adjust to it. And Spirit Breaker Bat Rider's a very solid lane. Veno Jug is very happy to play into that, though. As we can now see. Medallion and of the Beast. The Veno out of position, just trying to de-ward and get any sort of vision and control. Will go down. Speaking of ancient snacks, this Medusa able to farm some right now. Getting close to, if not finishing that butterfly. About to finish it. Has the gold. Certainly. Have it momentarily. Just the Rolling Thunder, it's enough concern with the amount of tree clear it has. On top of the Undying Tombstone, the Spirit Breaker charge, the Bat Rider. Basically, everyone on this entire team can clear out the trees that the Monkey King's trying to hide in.
Yeah. And they need those trees, man. Not only for the Monkey King, but for the Shackle Shot.
Dire are scanning for enemies.
They've done a pretty bad job at being a tree removal service, though, considering how many shackles this Wind Ranger has been able to clamp down. Now the Diffusal and the Glepnir fully built. Spearbreaker thinking about going for the ult, realizing the Wind Ranger's right next door. And that would be a better idea to back away. No high ground vision for North Macedonia towards their triangle, so this Monkey King can freely sneak around however he pleases. This Monkey King in a lot more of a dangerous position than he would believe himself to be. This ward's already being annoying, slowing him down from his rotations, and even forcing a barracks creep to head his way over. Catapult some rocks at the Pango. And we have the Roach attempted. Bit of a surprise. Understandably, Lincoln's for the stats, as well as stopping the Spearbreaker charge from being able to go for Wind Ranger, and that initial lockdown. Will be a lot harder to try to deal with her in these fights, which is concerning because this Juggernaut on the side will be able to have the space to get in all that damage and harassment. The Omni Slash, he has the Battle Fury, the full SNY, going for a butterfly of his own. And a tier 2.
He might switch that up. Whenever he sees the Medusa, he might switch that up to an MKB.
They likely have gotten vision on the Medusa and should know it's in possession. Openly farming mid. Considering, yeah, the Wind Ranger's running in. They don't need it. If the Butterfly's no issue, just the Diffusal Glepnir is enough raw magical damage and mana burn to pierce through with the Focus Fire. She's running away. She's full health, but her mana is completely gone. Power Shot not nearly enough. The Pangolier able to disable this monkey, deny him from making the troubles he desires. Undying Tombstone quickly removed, but yeah, indeed, a bit of an overextend. The Blade Fury not stopping the Spirit Breaker bashes, so he still gets stunned and unable to follow up with an Omni Slash to try to clutch up.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Their vision went red there. They saw a chance to kill the Medusa. They went all in to kill the Medusa. And they did not get to kill the Medusa. And with that, they all die. So, still have Aegis. Now we have Blink Black Holes. So they can look to take a fight. They still have Omni Slash available as well. So whenever they all come back up, they might look to smoke and try to take another engagement. No Stone Gaze for a little while.
I feel like the problem is they ran too quickly past. I mean, you can see the Wind Rangers right at the tier 2. Meanwhile, this monkey's just outside of the base. The Juggernaut on the complete opposite side of this tower. And this Wind Ranger's like, well, I got to deal with these Undying zombies attacking me.
Yeah.
Besides the Shackle Shot on the Pango, which does almost nothing.
No.
She's unable to have any impact, so it's really just the Vino ult he was able to get off before he got chased down to provide any damage.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think after the Monkey King gets lassoed, like, you just say, well, dude, you just went too deep. That's your fault. You die now. And we just back up and reset, I think is the way that play should have gone. But instead, they just went full Leroy Jenkins, and they paid the Pied Piper for it a little bit. And now this Medusa, she's has another item complete, and she's working her way towards her Scotty now. She's out to a commanding lead at this current point in time. 3K
MKB will get her to... Yeah, she's going to be able to start getting that proper damage, and most importantly, the level 18, getting closer and closer to that level 25 talent that'll significantly amplify her damage with all those procs going off.
Yeah, they've got to find a way to kill this Medusa. It's starting to get to be a problem. But they smoke to an area, they smoke to the high ground, the triangle. nobody was there, so they're going to look to put vision up, control that area, start to put pressure onto the lanes, and maybe look to take this tier 1 tower.
I mean, they have ways to easily shut down this Medusa. My concern is they're struggling in these fights with the Medusa having this minimal impact, just now starting to accelerate, get the gold once again. Now having the MKB can easily deal with the Jug, trying to abuse the agility and evasion.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I think I'm gonna argue with you there, buddy. I'm not sure that they have the tools to slow down this Medusa, because they've not slowed down this Medusa. I mean, look at where she is on the net worth, and she's already a quarter of the way to her Iascati as well. Like, she is free farming at this current point in time. They killed her 3 times in the early game, but since then she's just been able to have a free game, farming ancient stacks, using her Manta style to push out waves. She's just doing exactly what she wants, and it's like every time they try to catch her, she just stone gaze runs away, and they don't have an answer for that.
Yeah, I mean, part of the struggle is that there's no way to really have an answer to that unless you can get a full duration shackle shot off to keep her in place.
Yeah.
The fact that
I mean,
BKB
it's
piercing is so brutal.
It's a tough situation to be in for sure, and especially because by the time that the Stone Gaze is up, that's when the Pango is there, the Bat Rider is there, the Spirit Breaker's charge is complete, and now the entire fight is flipped topsy-turvy, and it's not the game that it was before. But now you guys just had Aegis of the Immortal, and you lost your net worth lead. You took no objectives over the course of that Aegis, and this Medusa, she just extended her lead and is continuing to extend her lead. She's now out to almost 5k net worth ahead. Now 4k, I am in a maths, my bad. But, so she's extended it by about $1,000, by 1,000 gold since we started talking about this. And it's only going to continue unless they find a way to shut her down. But it's hard when she has these 2 bodyguards following her around everywhere. I mean, how are you going to get past Mo and Larry? You know, to get to the Medusa.
Want to have the 4k gold extended on anyone, you want it on the Medusa above the 2 cores easily. Yeah. So this is the dream situation to have in terms of setup. Losing a tier 2 will sort of blow, considering both this Chug and Wind Ranger now have to go for these MKBs. It's going to be a while until they can afford them.
Yep. Yep, and this is kind of why I wish they went for the MKB before the Butterfly. Because now this Medusa, she already has her MKB and her Butterfly. She's a full item out ahead of you. You're going to be chasing you're chasing waterfalls for the rest of the game. You're always going to be searching for that next item. You're chasing the dragon now for the rest of the game. Unless you win a big fight and you get that item lead, as the Monkey King is going to be spotted out with the charge.
Important reason, that's exactly why the Wind Ranger has gone for this Lotus Orb, or not the Lotus Orb, but the Lincoln's Orb, as without it, the Spirit Breaker could do the exact same thing, play off the Smoke Gank with it for North Macedonia, and suddenly Bulgaria don't have one of their 2 most important players. Although this does get weird, as the later it goes, the more this Monkey King can turn into like a 3rd carry for the side of Bulgaria. So this is by no means a free late game for North Macedonia, where they become too tanky to kill.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely can. There's still a lot of room that this Juggernaut can catch up to. And I mean, this is one of those things that it's a part of the game, right? Whenever you have a hero like an Anti-Mage, like a Medusa, who in their kit, they are going to farm faster than the rest of the heroes. Alchemist is another hero that comes to mind, right? Where if Alchemist is 5k ahead, Alchemist is really, the net worth is about even at that point in time. He's supposed to be further out ahead than that. So, like, and also, that means that they are going to get their items sooner, but there is a ceiling. You can only get so big in the game of Dota 2. There are only so many items that you can buy. So, once you get there, that just means that the only way that you can go is down as these other heroes start to catch up in net worth. They start to get their items, because eventually you're just going to be walking around with 10, 20k in your pocket because you have nothing else to buy, because you're already 6 slotted, plus you have the Aghanim's Blessing, plus you have your Moon Shard, and there's just, you maybe have a refresher sitting in your backpack, so maybe you're 7 slotted, but like, yeah, there's only so many items that you can buy in this game, so these other heroes do have the chance to catch back up to you in that sense as well, even if they're not catching up to you in net worth, just in overall item utilization and item slots, they can in fact catch up with you. That's why Anti-Mage is great in the 30 to 35 minute mark, but once you start getting to 45-50 minutes, Anti-Mage's win rate starts to go back down because these other heroes have caught back up to the Anti-Mage, and he's not as strong anymore because he is supposed to be out ahead.
And then it swings back around because he gets 1 or 2 extra items, like the Ags later on, gets the Blink Remnants to harass, and it's interesting how the timings can affect a hero's success so strongly. This Medusa being one of them. Going for the Silver Edge next, to try to break the Juggernaut crit during these fights. And considering that he's gone S and Y, no Manta, this arm will be the break will be very effective. As he's just now close to finishing the MKB shortly.
Yeah, still has a little ways to go for that MKB. But they're going to go ahead and look to try to make a play here. They know that Roshan could be respawning soon, so they're going to smoke up towards the bottom side of the map. Probably try to get some vision out, try to get some territory. You can see the lines drawn. They want to go right towards the Roshan pit, where is exactly where North Macedonia are hanging out. And they are already in a fortified position. So this could get very scary for Bulgaria if they don't get the great vision drop from the Monkey King.
They're going to see that hop up, so they know exactly that the smokes are going on through. The ward will confirm the position of the Medusa. And with the ward on the high ground...
Oh, lasso. Onto the
lasso.
Juggernaut. Oh, the black
Oh
hole!
my god!
The black hole! But it gets canceled by the Stone Gaze!
Oh, that's so tragic. Stone Gaze coming in at just the right time to save the day. So both of the supports of both teams getting killed off. The difference is the Spear Breaker's fought back. The Medusa's run out of mana, but the Juggernaut has run out of health. Already using the Omni Slash, unable to get that proper damage in. Not yet having that MKB. So nice job getting a buyback spent, but way more gold now pumped into the Medusa, going to make her significantly tankier than she even was before. And multiple halberds being built by North Macedonia themselves to deal with the Juggernaut.
Yeah, it's starting to look like we might get a chance for a game 3, Trevs. Starting to look like it. I'm excited.
Danger's there, and that's got a sting. You have the perfect counter initiation with the Enigma. You separate them on all these different clips to clap them together, but the Medusa Stone Gaze being out nullifies you and gets you taken out early. Immediate Omni Slash, the Jug's able to find 2, but no True Strike to finish off that Medusa, and how tanky she is with the Manta Illusions to help assist. That the Cleave is not nearly enough damage with how underfarmed this Jug is in comparison to the Speed Demon that the Medusa can be, and will become even more deadly with, as I imagine she'll pick up this Aegis in a second.
Whoop-de-doo! Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Whoop-de-doo. I kind of like this Storm Spirit announcer pack, man. I've not heard it before. I kind of like it.
The hero ones are usually slept on pretty fun. I've always enjoyed the Lena announcer because it gives me those like old school Quake vibes.
My favorite's Stanley's Parable.
The good old just sarcastic humor.
Yeah, he just yells at me all game and flames me, and I love it.
I mean, you have to love it if you're a Dota 2 player. Have to deal with it every single game.
Right, we're masochists.
Always someone flaming you. Just part of the thing. Minus 12% on the focus fire reduction. So nice improvement. Although we noticed a gem in the Lincolns, and she's no longer going for the MKB, or is it just fully tucked away on a courier is the question, I guess.
The Wind? I don't think she's going for the MKB anymore.
It's an interesting choice to make. Actually working on a Blink Dagger instead. She had the BKB queued, and unless something is significantly changed, she should still have it in her possession. They're confident they can kill this Medusa twice. Nice lockdown. Should be able to.
Oh, here comes the area.
Just unfortunately, not quick enough. Yeah, the area control with the Pango getting the stuns in to harass this Wind Ranger's now been locked down with the Spirit Breaker. The BKB ignored by the bashes, and now the Monkey King to follow. The BKB was not the correct answer to deal with this. Now 3v5, the full favored Macedonia setup. And this is what I was talking about by how their draft just looked straight up stronger for the most part. And I don't know how Bulgaria are supposed to win, especially at this point.
Oh no,
no.
Max Lasso.
It's a nice Omni Slash, but there just isn't enough damage for it to matter. Sure, the Venom ult on top of it brings this Medusa quote-unquote low, draining her mana. But she still has the 1300 health, still has the Aegis. The buyback on the Finno to try to give it a shot, sure. You might have the single black hole on the Enigma.
Maybe not. Maybe not game, because they still have the bottom tier 2 tower. But they will be able to get 2 lanes of racks off the back of this.
There's no way this Enigma's even close to the refresher yet. And you see the purchase of the Wind Ranger to go for that last minute BKB falls flat on its face immediately. That Spirit Breaker having a halberd on top of the Undying halberd makes things even harder. Beautiful pick off the finish. Getting a little bit too cocky going for those racks, but the follow-up team fight should help her out. But the ult has been nullified, hasn't been able to get it off. The damage from the Midnight Pulse is so strong. The Enigma coming in just in time. They have the confidence in the team execution. That's the Bat Rider and the Medusa dead for about 90. He has the Octarine now and the Ags. Refresher soon to be made. Mind Control is going to have to hard carry them to victory if they want to make this work, because the BKB on the Wind Ranger is doing absolutely nothing but all of that raw damage between the Monkey King, the Enigma, and the Finno. Damage over time is absolutely eradicating her, as well as that Focus Fire Diffusal just to help clean it up at the end. It's still going to take a lot more than that, though. A 10k network lead, split 5k apiece between either core and the Medusa. Every single benefit in favor of North Macedonia currently. So they're able to get some hits in on the tier 3, forced to back away. Position of the Monkey King certainly known by that tower projectile. I guess the disarm with the is a decent way to counteract the disarm. I guess what are the talents that Jug has? He's gone full on the right side. Whatever that happens to mean. And you have this Monkey King still building similar items, the disarm with the diffusal. Smoke out on the Enigma to get away, just in case. And the Refresher Orb has been purchased. He has the Octarine, the Ninja Gear to help him set up for these ganks. So the cooldown on Black Hole, I think, is like 90 seconds. Yeah, the double damage on the Wind Ranger right now, they can totally defend this base comfortably, even with how behind they are. So it is 120 with the Octarine and everything else in play. That is insane. But he's going to have 2 of them. It's all pure damage.
Mm-hmm.
Got that bonus black hole damage on top of it. Probably couldn't be deadlier. And I mean, the only way you can really counter... you know, it's infamously said, the only item that could counter Enigma for years was the lovely thing called the Aegis of the Immortal. But even that might not be able to do the trick. had some rough matches recently due to Enigma in play.
Yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me to see the same here. Pango able to freely teleport away.
Rolling Thunder TP, nothing to stop it, so he's outie. 5,000.
Yeah, no issue. I mean, the max cooldown, it looks like, for the Enigma Black Hole is 160. So, yeah, that Octarine's doing exactly what it should be. It's just really that large of a cooldown because of how broken the spell is.
Good spell, man. Very good spell.
Makes sense. Batrider able to catch a snippet of the monkey. But the Wind Ranger's here to blink in, save the day with the focus fire. Of course, now the Spirit Breaker charge could come in, but decides to back off, realizing this is too dangerous to go for. The Spat Rider's dead for 70, and they will need him to be able to buy back when a team fight arises and don't want to lose the rest of them with it. Bulgaria having an opportunity to play ahead with the advantage, even though they are significantly behind in multiple ways currently. Tier 4 is getting chipped down quite a bit now. Letting it push in. Octarine and Arcane on the Pango. Pretty significant.
Yes, next fight he'll be jumping all around. Roshan will respawn right now. And it looks
Gear
like
and
the
Mindbreaker,
Dire are aware.
the most popular, covering half the neutral items with just those two alone.
Now this would be big. If Bulgaria is able to get this Aegis, that would be big.
That would deny the biggest strength the Medusa has, which is, of course, being able to have that respawn. And being able to have it on someone like the Jug that can easily get disarmed and shut down for a life. Same with the Wind Ranger. If you can play around removing that advantage, even more so considering that the Juggernaut's going to go ahead and build a Lincoln's himself. Likely to replace the boots with, I'm not sure, but it will be an Ags for whoever wants it. Way more valuable than the
Vino. Give it to the Vino.
Wind Ranger's a fantastic one to give it to as well, though. So I'm not going to be disappointed in that. The Vino's definitely the second choice in my book.
Yeah, I thought she had already committed to buying hers.
Oh wait, no, even if you do that, you still give it to the Enigma. Because the this raw black hole, the additional AoE suction, able to catch the Undying, but unable to kill him. Instead, it's the Wind Ranger on the sideline, catching out the Spirit Breaker, the Space Cow removed. The Undying a lot longer to chip out, but not only do they have the cheese, the Aegis, a free Ags given over. They've gotten these 2 kills, and it means this 15k net worth lead has been completely eradicated in a single fight.
Well, that's how you come back into a video game right there. And it all started with that huge black hole for mind control. When they were able to kill that Medusa, instead of losing 2 lanes of Erics, they were able to get a double kill on the Medusa, as well as some friends. That completely turned this game on its head, and they've just been able to make play after play since that point in time. And I mean, this is what comes with the leadership of established pro players, of TI winning players, having been in tough situations before, knowing what to do, knowing how to play your way out of it, when to play your way out of it, and when to have neutral Jhin and do nothing. Is yeah, I mean, it's commendable to say the very least. And now it looks like they are in control to win this game. This game is very, very close. This game is far from over. But now we're getting close to that point where we were talking about, where the Juggernaut is able to catch up with the Medusa.
Look at that.
But look at that damage.
Medusa.
Holy
yeah,
shit.
she
They might
even
just be
has
able
a
to
blink
proc it
dagger
here.
to keep on up. Yeah, that's the danger. I don't know exactly what's on her possession this second, but yeah, the Silver Edge for the break, the Agi blink, so she has insane, ludicrous right-click attack speed. She, of course, has hit the 26, so she has the additional damage with the split shot, so she always has the MKB and the Scotty procs going off. And I imagine it counts at least for the first attack for the break from the Silver Edge modifier. I have no knowledge of why it wouldn't.
You know,
other
I
than
honestly
Dota,
don't
it's
know.
Weird.
I mean, I could definitely see it giving it the extra damage, but the break, I'm not really sure how that would work.
Something to look at, or maybe do some in-game testing at some point.
Right. I'm sure somebody in Twitch chat's like, hey, you noobs, this is what it is. But that's okay. You can call me a noob.
Okay, the Shadow Walk only applies break to the primary target. It will still also do it to the secondary target nearest to Medusa, interestingly enough, though. So it just doesn't apply it to all of them.
Right.
But at least benefits the secondary source.
Oh no, Monkey. Wukong ring out, but he's surrounded.
Source. Yeah, he's not going to be able to do much there. Fully disarmed on the Juggernaut, but he can just Omni Slash through that. Slashing on through, the Enigma stunned. He's unable to get anything off. Has to instantly fly back, as well as the Monkey. This could be all here. The Medusa is so low on shield. Her HP's getting eradicated by the Blade Fury. That's the Medusa down. Buyback, though, available. A dangerous situation as dieback for a couple of these heroes on the board, like the Mind Control Enigma, that they need to be rather careful about. But for now, they will still keep their lead and recover in the team fight situation.
Oh, they were hunting for the Bat Rider, unable to find him. Maybe got to look to push this bottom tier 2 tower, and then look to go high ground after that. But what a great initiation by the Monkey King. Just absolutely throwing his life to the wind with reckless abandon, baiting them down into this gullet, into this fight where they have one escape point, and that escape point is surrounded by enemies. The Omni Slash bouncing around, preventing the Stone Gaze from coming out. Uphill misses, able to clear out the Tombstone. And then now from here, it's all just declining action. Let's spin to win. Let's cut down this Medusa. Let's pick off anybody else who's still foolish enough to try to scrap with us. And not losing a single hero in that engagement is huge.
And this is only going to become even more huge. As you can see, all that damage from the Wind Ranger and the Jug, it is able to stack up to the amount of damage the Pango and the Medusa has provided, about equally, in fact, interestingly enough. So the game deciding difference could, in fact, be this Monkey King later on, if required, as we're starting to get to those really later stages. Still looking good for the side of Bulgaria to close it in two with just their experience and talent. But man, North Macedonia is making it two very difficult games for them.
Man, I'm so sad. I thought they were going to do it. I believed in them so hard. I really thought they were going to do it. They still have hope to win this game. I don't want to make it sound like this game is done and dusted and or anything close to that. But I really thought that they were going to do it on the back of this Medusa, this 8-pick Medusa. But I mean, if you look at her item progression, she's bought the Swift Blink and she's not bought anything since because she simply doesn't have room for anything else. She could go for a Refresher at this point, she could go for the Aghanim Blessing, she could go for a Moon Shard, but that's really the only 3 items that she can continue to buy unless she wants to sell something that she already possesses.
Yeah, which would be the great mystery, trying to go for a bit of a smoke gank. They're able to catch the Vino early. So none of that raw poison damage that's been so helpful, just chipping away everyone on the opposing side. Especially considering all the stats and strength they all want to have. But it's a beautiful black hole on the Medusa. She doesn't have any ult proc, so the Enigma able to completely ignore it. The Refresher has been activated. Another black hole is available, trying to save it for the last necessary requirement for who it will be used for, which will be this Medusa. Seeing the Bat Rider teleport back in. Medusa blinking in, has lockdown on this Monkey King with the Spirit Breaker as the Pango is able to freely roll away, unable to chase the Wind Ranger. but this entire time, the Enigma is still lurking around, hiding for a moment. But now, even with it, that's a dieback for the Enigma. Gone for 2 minutes, unable to use that secondary black hole. And now, all of Bulgaria is in quite a bit of danger as everyone's up for North Macedonia. And there's some tier 4s exposed that I'm sure this Medusa would be happy to take.
Oh boy. That buyback, it looked so good for Bulgaria for a second. And I mean, there is still hope. They still have their 2 strongest heroes available on the map. We have buyback available on the Venomancer. And if you look at where the lanes are, where the lanes were when the fight was won, they were in a favorable position for Bulgaria. So they've had to spend the last 15-20 seconds pushing the wave up. Now we can start to do some actual damage to the towers. And he's going to go right in for the tier 4s. They're not going to muck about, as now we're going to go for a counter. Oh, 2-man lasso.
Beautiful double lasso onto these 2 cores. The Wind Ranger does have buyback. The Omni Slash is out. Able to have a decent shot, but is immediately taken out. Has to go for his own buyback if he wants to fight against this. They've somehow been able to find a way to keep this going. The Pango able to roll away. Use that ball to keep himself alive. The Veno slow able to go on in and help, and it's a beautiful shackle shot. Now the spin, the raw magical damage with the E-Blade. Causing so much, at least for a moment. Lotus saving the Juggernaut, at least for a moment. Removing the Spirit Breaker, the Undying bound to be removed to support. North Macedonia have forced the other buybacks. But at what cost, as the Bat Rider has been taken out from the Veno. And now set at the 50-minute mark. The exact same pressure can be sent back their way. Medusa, no ult, having to return all the way back to spawn to get the availability.
This game's
no
getting
buyback
good.
on anyone except the Pango and the Bat Rider. So chance for him, even if he misses the next lasso, to buy back and try again. And you can see the focus is immediately on that Roche Pit, getting that second life when no one else has the opportunity to obtain it. This Juggernaut starting to keep up with the Medusa on his own. The Wind Ranger to keep on up if it wasn't for that Bat Rider with the Ags being so pesky and problematic. It's going to be a refresher shard, so we could have tons of even more black holes provided by the Enigma in theory, as they have to handle dealing the Ags and everything else in play. And you can see this is the black hole that started it all, not really doing that much damage on its own to the Medusa, but the fact that it's pure means that it denies a lot of that reduction, causes a lot of issues, and allows the isolated duels, if it wasn't for that Pango, always able to dispel and run away, ignoring the lockdown of the Wind Ranger.
Yes! The Radiant's bottom barracks are under attack. You heard it here first. Radiant's bottom barracks.
Oh no.
Okay. He will have to use the refresher if he wants to be able to go ahead and black hole once again. I know there should be a refresher shard on someone still at the moment. I imagine they're keeping it on the Omni for the Slash. If I look around, I actually can't see it anywhere.
Yeah, maybe it was another Ags.
Oh wait, yeah, we did see an Ags drop. Maybe it doesn't do both just yet. Or we forgot how the Roshan mechanics currently work. And now, yep, the big boy, the Rapier's out for the Medusa. Even more raw damage to pump on out.
Oh shit. This game is getting so good, dude. This game is so hype, actually. 52 minutes, still no clear, concise idea as far as who's going to be the winner of this game.
That's what it is. If Roshan dies in the Radiant Pit, you get the Ag's Blessing, and you get the Refresher Shard that's in the Dire Pit.
Yeah.
So it's always only one of the two. Always change how Roshan works, like every single patch.
Keeps things spicy. Keeps things interesting. 5-man smoke out of the base. Looking to get aggro, looking to find something. They're not going to find it, but they do find a nice hill that they can hang out at.
Before it gets worse.
And with that D-ward of the Plague Ward, it gives the info that they are nearby.
None rejoice, except perhaps in secret.
Gives some information, as well as that Medusa courier that's been taken down. I'm not entirely sure what it has removed. I wonder if they're just planning to wait for the 60-minute items. just removing that last tier 2 from the game top.
Surely not. You would think that they want to use this Aegis.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
I mean, there's plenty of ways to use it. The stall is one of them.
And that's
to
what I
get
was
those
about to say.
buybacks
That
back
is
up.
because yeah, they don't have buybacks on the other heroes, so that is a little bit scary. But
Oh boy. Wait a minute, look at that Monkey King scouting in the trees nearby top tower, able to get a bit of info, ready to take the hop nearby. Once a second of visions provided the Blade Fury. Do have the boots of travel, someone trying to teleport on. The Blade Spin, surprise, the break, the silences Jug, will lose his first
another
life
huge black
immediately.
hole, but the Stone Gaze again cancels it.
But the Enigma does have the buyback. I think he has the travels too, so he can teleport on someone to try to get back in. The Omni Slash able to remove the Medusa. And now the problem is the rest of the support is taken out. That's the Divine Drop. There is no buyback on her. So just barely able to break through. This should be Doom. Buybacks on the Bat Rider and the Undying, trying to find a miraculous way to break this forward as the Jug starts chalking down that tower. The Monkey King able to participate now as well. And with no buyback available for a minute and a half, they found the perfect time to go for this team fight and win it out, abuse it with that Aegis advantage. Of course, that North Macedonia, they're hoping a mistake's made, that they can break through, stalling every single second that they can, but it's still a full minute. It's a nice pick onto one of the Veno, but they still have at least 2 to 3 more heroes to find, and the refreshers pop. The Enigma Black Hole is available, and that is going to force the GG, as that will kill the rest of North Macedonia. It is called, and the fight is strong, but the Bulgarians play stronger, winning out just barely before the 60-minute mark. Fantastic clutch, all thanks to mind control and the amazing plays of the Enigma.
Yeah, dude. That was bonkers. That game was absolutely bonkers, man. My mind is it's like leaking out of my ears right now. That was such a good game, dude. I'm so proud of North Macedonia, man. I really thought that they were gonna win this game. They just barely get squeaked out by the Bulgarians. But I am so impressed with because they made both of these games to be hard games. I came in, I expected a 2-0, but I expected a 2-0 slap. I expected Bulgaria to come in and just take care of business and have a nice day at the office, go home, have a pint or two, and just relax their way through to victory. But no, these boys, they had to sweat for it. They had to fight, claw, inch, scrape, bite, do whatever it took. Pull hair, pull ears, kicks to the groin. It got dirty. It got nasty for a second, but they were finally able to claim victory in this game. And as you said, man, a lot of it comes down to those plays on the MC Enigma, dude, up top when they were trying to take the 2 lanes of barracks, and that huge black hole that was able to secure the double kill of the Medusa. There's another time in the mid lane on the Radiant side of the map where the Medusa was in the mid lane. He blinks forward, he grabs her, he black holes her. That's another big kill. They ended up losing that fight later on after the Medusa buyback, but it does not matter, as we're going to go ahead. We're going to cut to the MVP of this game, and it's going to go to the Juggernaut.
Jug. I mean, that Jug was able to itemize correctly to outcarry a Medusa without a Diffusal Blade, which is insane on its own. He was able to get a kill on her just at the end in that final team fight without the Wind Ranger ulting on her, just the black hole to keep her stunned so she couldn't get any sort of life steal or sustained, even though I don't think she had any, just the Divine Rapier.
Yeah, I don't
Taking
think so.
that risk, full sending it all in, considering she didn't have the buyback, and even then still, low pleb. I mean, this is one of the few players that I'm mostly confident isn't in one of these pro teams, doesn't have that experience like, you know, the good old OG mind control or the plenty of other situations of their cores to be able to help out.
Yeah, so he plays on a
So
tier 3
experience.
pro team. He plays for a tier 3 pro team, Ancient Tribe.
Yeah, I mean, still, that's small enough to be able to step up on this level with the pressure being thrown on him in a game like this. This is an amazing performance to show that he can play some top level Dota in the performance and make some amazing achievements.
Yeah, no, and that's what I was just trying to provide supporting evidence. He's not a tier 1 pro player; he's a tier 3 pro player. So yeah, that's that's Liquipedia. That's not my opinion. That's not a subjective opinion. That's just what Liquipedia ranks the tournaments that he plays in are tier 3 pro. So it is that's a great showing from him. I think he stepped up in both games. I think he had a good showing. And really, he helped to carry this team to victory. I mean, between him and BZM, they definitely. I mean, Mind Control in Game 2, he had some huge plays, some huge plays. But ultimately, it really Lil Pleb and BZM. I don't know. BZM was just great in both games, dude. He had a great series today.
Yeah, an absolute amazing clutch. Some amazing black holes to finish. Thought we were going to have a bit of stomps, but we had probably the most thrilling game 2 we could have at least asked for. Still surprising it's not a game 3, honestly. I mean, that
Right.
gives credit to how like upsetting this North Macedonian team was to be able to push against this Bulgarian lineup that were like, this might be a tournament winner right here, and genuinely make them sweat a little.
Oh yeah.
Show some weakness in creativity with how strong that draft was. But won't be strong enough at the end of the day. However, hopefully you'll be strong enough to be able to come back here tomorrow, and we'll have some future matches to be able to enjoy. And until then, farewell.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. bottom tower is under...
I'm running out of time, every day goes by so fast. And every moment counts, baby, I don't wanna miss a thing. We can sleep under the stars, we can sleep under the stars, or hang out in hotel bars, riding somewhere in your car. We can sleep under the stars, we can sleep under the stars, under the stars. Come on, baby, take my hand. And we